The brands that win long term are almost never the ones with the best product. They're the ones that find the white space that nobody's looking at and use it to position themselves light years ahead from the competition. Just like Gathre, the multi-million-dollar brand that just got into Target without any outside funding. And they got there by making one of the most boring product categories feel like something people are generally proud and excited to own. Today, we're going to look at the 5 pillars of brand building that they are actively dominating, so you can see just how simple it is to copy and paste this for your brand. And I actually mentioned Gathre in my previous video about the art of selling boring products, because they are one of the best examples I've seen of taking a mundane category and completely redefining it. And I'm not just a fan from the outside, I've worked in product development and creative strategy for consumer brands, and the way Gathre approaches building a product line is genuinely impressive. So I went deep on this one. I read interviews with their founders, dug through their product line, looked at all their marketing, and I want to walk you through the 5 things they're doing right, the one thing I think they could be doing a little better, and the specific takeaways that you can apply to whatever you're building. So section 1 is the product. Let's start with the product because everything else flows from here. Gathre started with one product, a leather mat. A mat you put on the ground for your kid to play on or eat on. It's wipeable, it's durable, it rolls up when you're done. And if you're thinking, that's not revolutionary, you're right, it's not. And that's kind of the whole point. The founders, Mar and Jess, were young moms who looked at the kids' product aisle and felt like nothing reflected who they were. Everything was too bright, too plastic, or just look at me, I have a toddler. They wanted something that could sit on their living room floor and look like it belonged there, not like it needed to be stuffed away or hidden or like it escaped from Chuck E. Cheese's or something. So they decided to make this product themselves. And here's the product decision that I think is genius. They used leather. And I know it's not the cheapest material, and it is definitely not the most obvious choice for a kid's product, but it's because leather communicates something instantly. It says premium, it says intentional. It honestly says this was chosen, not settled for because of cost or just laziness. And the material itself does a lot of the positioning work before you even write one piece of copy. So they started by selling 2,000 of these mats out of their garage in Utah, and from there they expanded, but they did it methodically. They didn't go super wide with 50 products out of the gate, they went deep. They had a winning product in mats, so they doubled down on that. They went play mats, changing mats, all-purpose mats, different sizes, different prints, but all in that same design language. The same muted palettes, and the same clean lines. And then once they owned that territory, once they were the mat brand for design-conscious parents, then they started to expand into play equipment. Trampolines, basketball hoops, activity walkers, a $400 arc playset, play tunnels, balance beams, even a chalkboard. They now have products ranging from $20 all the way up to almost $500. And what's crazy is every single one looks like it belongs in an interior design magazine, and not so much just a toy store. But the key there is that expansion only works once you've earned the right to build it. They built trust in one category before asking their customers to follow them into the next. That is a masterclass in product line extension. Now let's talk positioning, because this is where Gathre really separates themselves. The kids market is massive and it's super crowded. You've got the legacy players, Fisher-Price, Skip Hop, Melissa and Doug. You've got the private label Amazon brands that are just undercutting on price. And then you've got the Instagram brands that are just basically all the same thing, just slapping a different logo on. And Gathre didn't try to compete with any of them on their terms. Instead, they just went ahead and created their own category, the design first parent. This customer isn't shopping for the cheapest mat. Honestly, this customer probably isn't even really shopping for a mat. This is the type of person that's just shopping for things that match their identity of a design-conscious parent that refuses to let accessories ruin the aesthetic of their home. A parent that refuses to let their house look like a bright, primary color toy graveyard. And Gathre is the only brand that truly speaks specifically to that person. This goes back to what I talked about in my first video, the identity principle. Gathre understood that each purchase is a brick in a parent's aspirational identity. When someone buys a Gathre trampoline in ivory and puts it in their living room, that's not just a functional decision. It's literally a statement. It says, I'm the kind of parent who cares both about my kids' play and my home's aesthetic. And the genius is both of these are true. It's not sacrificing one or the other. The products actually work, they're durable, the mats are wipeable, the playsets are well engineered, but the positioning is so good it makes the customer feel seen in a way that no other brand has done. And the founders actually said this exact thing in an interview that perfectly captures this. They said they look for products as women and mothers, but aren't made how they want. Products that are, and I'm quoting here, too obnoxiously colored, too kitschy, and yell kid too loudly or aren't elevated enough. That is positioning gold. Instead of just being out there guessing what the customer wants, they are the customer. And here's where the story gets really interesting. Gathre scaled to 7 figures without paid advertising. No meta ads, no Google spend, no major paid acquisition machine. Their entire growth engine was built on 3 things: Instagram, influencer partnerships, and UGC, or user-generated content. And they did it in that order. First, Instagram. The CEO, Devin Kilpack, has straight up called Gathre an Instagram-first based business. And that makes perfect sense when you just look at the product. These mats and playsets are beautiful. They photograph well. They fit perfectly into the Instagram mom aspirational lifestyle. And what's great about that is that kind of content performs very well on Instagram. And Gathre really leaned into that hard, and they heavily reposted UGC content to make their customers feel like they were co-building the brand together. Second, influencer partnerships, but not the spray and pray kind. Gathre was very strategic. Their first big growth lever was partnering with a significant influencer and doing a co-branded product with them. This wasn't just a, hey, I'm going to send you some product, can you post about it or give us a shout out? Or hey, here's a custom discount code that you can use for your followers. This was an actual collaboration where the influencer had skin in the game. And that partnership alone was a turning point for the business. They've since done collabs with Studio McGee, Riley and Crew, Baby Leto, even Peter Rabbit. Each one brings in a new audience, but it never dilutes the brand because every collaboration stays within that visual world. And then the third is the content strategy. Gathre took a little bit of an alternative route than just posting product photos. They built a content engine that made their Instagram feel like a lifestyle magazine. And every piece reinforces the message that beautiful things can be functional, less can be more, and the effort to be together is always worth it. But the takeaway here is don't run ads. It's just that if your product is inherently visual and your brand has a real point of view, you can build an organic growth engine that ads cannot replicate. Ads can get you transactions, but community gets you loyalty, and loyalty grows LTV, or lifetime value. Let's look at how they structure their offers, because there are some smart moves here that are some good takeaways. As stated before, the product ranges from $20 to all the way up to almost $500. And believe it or not, that range is intentional. That $20 micro mat is what you call a gateway product. It's an easy first purchase for someone who's a little curious about their brand, but not totally sold, where they just want to drop $500 on the first time. And then once they experience the quality and design, they come back for more. Each mat that they buy is another brick that they lay for their aspirational identity. As they get more Gathre, they want more items from Gathre. They also run bundles. Build your own bundle, or from the label list, which is a curated collection. These custom kits and bundles drive up average order value, all while making the customer feel like they're getting a deal. Plus, with a brand with a higher price point, offering Afterpay is an incredible move because the installment payments remove friction, but it's not so high of a price point that the customer feels like they're financing a big piece of furniture. And then there's the wholesale and the retail. Gathre just launched a bedding capsule in Target like just a few weeks ago. I believe they're also in Crate and Kids, and that retail channel does 2 things. It's obviously another revenue stream, but partnering with Target captures a whole nother audience of moms that is not on Instagram and might not see their beautiful curated lifestyle magazine page. When a mom walks through Target and sees the Gathre stuff positioned next to the bland generic stuff, the product really does its own selling. And that right there is the power of design first positioning in a physical space. Section 5, the world. This is the principle I talked about in my last video that separates memorable brands from iconic ones. Gathre has built a world that their customer wants to live in, and it all starts with visual identity. Everything on their site, their social, their packaging, it all lives in this muted, warm, intentional aesthetic. Ivory, camel, millet, thyme, even the color names feel curated. So don't get it twisted. You're not buying a beige mat. You're buying an ivory mat or a millet mat. That vocabulary, as much as you don't think it matters, it matters. They even have a community called Gathre, or I'm not sure. But it is a Facebook group where customers post photos, ask for recommendations, and just talk to each other. And honestly, now in marketing, community is such a buzzword, but if you do have a place that connects people with other like-minded people, it is extremely powerful. And oftentimes, they'll do the product selling for you for free. Another aspect of their world building is their tagline, make space for the worthwhile. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting here and talking about what the mats or the products make possible. Time with your kids, a home that feels intentional, the effort to be together. Every product page, every email, every Instagram caption reinforces that world. With the purchase of a mat or a playset, the customer is buying membership into a lifestyle that values beauty, simplicity, and togetherness. This is exactly what I described in my framework in the first video. Exclusivity made the product feel like it was made for a specific person. Identity made that person feel seen, and world building made them feel like they belonged to something bigger. Gathre runs this full playbook to perfection. Now, at the beginning, I did say I would keep this one honest, so here's where I think Gathre is missing the mark just a little bit. First off, channel diversification. First, YouTube. And this one is kind of wild. They actually do have a YouTube channel with over 1,000 videos uploaded, but they only have about 2,700 subscribers. Compare that to their 500,000 on Instagram, and that's a pretty heavy gap. And for a brand with this strong of a visual identity and this compelling of a founder story, 2 moms building this out of a garage, the fact that their YouTube isn't really working feels like a pretty big missed opportunity in the DTC space. And it's talked about a lot in the space right now. It's really just diversifying the growth engine. Obviously, they have nailed certain parts of it, but now distribution is king and it's only going to be more important. So owning more and more and more channels will only help Gathre grow and grow. All right, and as promised, here's your playbook. 6 things you can take from Gathre and apply to your own brand. Number 1, let the material do the positioning. Gathre chose leather when everyone was doing plastic and foam. Your material choice, your packaging, your texture, these communicate so much about your positioning before copy even has a chance to. Pick the material that tells the story you want to tell. Number 2, be your own customer. The founders didn't really do a ton of deep market research to figure out what moms wanted. They made what they wanted. If you're building a product and you wouldn't buy it yourself, major red flag. Number 3, earn the right to expand. Gathre didn't launch with trampolines or basketball hoops. They owned the entire mat category first. Then they expanded. Don't skip the step where you build trust in one category before you go super wide and launch 50 different SKUs. You cannot ask a customer to follow you into another category until you've absolutely earned their trust in the first one. Number 4, make your customers co-creators. Now, of course, UGC is a massive thing in the modern marketing flywheel, but if you could just even be a little more intentional about it and really choose the correct creators and really make your customers feel like they built the brand with you, they will be a powerful sales force for years to come. Number 5, name everything with intention. Ivory, not white. Millet, not tan. Thyme, not green. The vocabulary around your product shapes how people feel about your product. Do not underestimate the power of a name. And number 6, build the room before you invite people in. Gathre didn't go about just slinging products and hope to bring the community in after. The world, the aesthetic, the values, the language, all of that existed from day one. Your brand's world should be so clear that a customer can feel if they should be a part of that world or not before they even make a purchase. Look, Gathre didn't invent anything. They didn't come up with some miraculous technology. They took a kid's playmat and repositioned with better materials. They realized there was a massive gap of design-conscious parents that were just being completely underserved. Most parents aren't dying to have their kid look like a daycare. They want a product that will entertain their kids, but also respect the visual aesthetic of their home. And Gathre was the first brand to say it out loud and really deliver on that. So here's what I want you to do. Look at whatever category you're in or thinking about entering and ask yourself, who in this space is being ignored? Who is settling for ugly, settling for generic, settling for just good enough? Because that person is your customer. And if your brand is the first person to speak to that demographic, you are positioned to win for a very long time. And if you're building something like this and you need help with brand strategy, the positioning, or just creative, this is exactly what we do over at Orange Tree Studios. So please shoot me a message and I would love to work on this idea together. And if this breakdown was helpful, please subscribe. I'm going to keep on doing brand teardowns like this and show you guys what is actually working and how you can apply it to your brand. Love y'all. Keep creating.